So the other day I got a date with a girl I met while cavemaning, and I arrived a bit early for our date. So I get out of my car, and in the parking lot I see this cute girl with dirty blonde hair. I get her number before my date arrives. 2 days later, I'm on a date with the parking lot girl. And this would have never happened before I understood the caveman method. And every single guy I know who has the ability to attract higher quality women does this. So today I'm gonna give you guys the step-by-step playbook. All right, so now the caveman sees a girl. A caveman, you gotta understand, a caveman's not very smart. He's not an intellectual where he's trying to think his way through things that much. He's not even capable of making excuses with his mind. He has no other option but to go, because you gotta think about it. A caveman doesn't have dating apps. He has no safety blanket where he could see a cave woman out in public somewhere and say, okay, you know what? I don't really need to approach that girl because I have a safety blanket. I can just go on Cave Tinder and meet some girls there. So there's no other option for him to actually meet women and carry on his genes and reproduce, which he's very in touch with, this primal drive. And once again, the caveman's not very intellectual, so he's not thinking of the perfect opener. Guys, I can tell you, this is one thing that I used to stress out a lot when I first started talking to women a lot, is what's the perfect words to say? Now, I can tell you, there's no perfect words to say when you're opening a girl. You getting a girl's attention is enough. So for example, the other day with the girl that I met in the parking lot with the dirty blonde hair, I see her walking by and I'm like, hey, excuse me, I just saw you with a nice outfit. I just had to come say hi. It's very simple, it doesn't matter. Daytime, I would go more direct, meaning I would give them a compliment. Nighttime, I would say absolutely anything. Does not matter. And so when I see a girl, I'm not even thinking. I'm not trying to think about the next 5 sentences that I'm gonna say, like, she's gonna say this, then I'm gonna say this, then this is gonna happen. No, all I'm thinking in my mind as a caveman, very primitive mind, is girl is good. This is very primitive thinking. I just see an attractive girl and I just go. Because the more you think about it, the more you try to intellectualize what's gonna happen, the more pressure you're gonna be under. And the more time you wait, the harder it's gonna be for you to make that move. It's sort of like jumping in a pool that's cold, or it's sort of like ripping off a Band-Aid. You just wanna do it fast, you don't wanna think, and then you just wanna keep talking and act like that opener never happened so that she forgets about it and it seems very natural. And so you just have to make a move. You just have to start moving your feet and initiate contact and trust that your brain's gonna carry you once you're in that moment, because now you're talking to the girl, now you're going. All right, so now the caveman's talking to the girl. And the girl needs to know exactly what type of interaction this is, either immediately or within 60 seconds of approaching her. The cave girl, all right, so when you're approaching a girl, right, the girl kind of knows what's up. She knows that you think she's attractive. Otherwise, why would you even be talking to this girl in the first place, right? She knows what's up. She's not stupid. But if you're the guy who tries to sneak his way into the girl's heart, or if you're a guy that's too afraid to actually flirt with the girl subtly and express his interest in the girl sort of romantically with more sexually charged ways, the girl's gonna think you're weak. The girl's like, okay, this guy's another weasel. He's gonna try to befriend me. He's gonna try to sneak his way in. But a confident guy would just sort of let her know what's up through various ways. This is why a lot of guys who are like really stupid tend to do very well with women. And a lot of guys with successful lives who are more intellectual and logical, they seem to be doing even worse than the guys who are making like zero money, but are sort of just like dumb and just go for what they want. And you have to think about it like this. What is the frame of the interaction with the girl? So if I talk to the girl and I'm only talking about what's the weather like, you know, hey, how's your day going? How's your job going? Everything going all right? Oh, did you go to this high school? Who cares, right? Well, the frame of that interaction is, okay, you're a friend. You're like this picture right here of this guy who's being carried by a girl. The way that you want to frame the interaction is you are a potential lover, you are a boyfriend. because either she accepts that frame or she doesn't. But if you never put that frame out in the first place, then there's no possibility of you becoming a potential lover, boyfriend, etc. So either she accepts the frame or she doesn't. Well, now you have a yes or a no. But if you always go into it with if you only go into it with a friend frame, then there's no possibility of you becoming a boyfriend lover. Okay, the girl's not gonna seduce you, man. You have to understand that girls are not good at game. Girls don't know how to run a date. They will start yapping about stuff is not good for the date. They're gonna start yapping about childhood traumas and stuff, and you have to veer them off into the right place. Now that might be a red flag if she starts yapping about childhood traumas, but essentially, even if a girl's attracted to you and she likes you, she doesn't really know what she's doing. So you have to guide it. You have to lead that conversation to the direct place. And you do that with flirtation, through your vocal tonality, through your eye contact. Like, you want to have that seductive sort of fuckboy eye contact through touching the girl. Of course you shake the hand immediately, but let's say, one way I learned to hug the girl is you're like, oh, are you from here? Are you from New York City? No way. Then you just give her a hug. It doesn't even have to make sense, guys. But if you're just sort of like awkwardly standing 10 feet away from the girl, not touching her at all, then she's gonna think you're weak, essentially. And so what are some ways to flirt with women, just as an example? All right, this is funny because there's a popular shirt that girls wear. It's like this cowgirl shirt. So if I see a girl wearing this, I'll tell the girl, you're not even a real cowgirl. You're such a faker. Stop wearing that shirt. Or, why do you keep giving me that look? Stop it. He's flirting with the girl. He's not getting on one knee and proposing to the girl. Like, I absolutely love you. I just want to have kids with you and marry you. But the way in our society, okay, you have to understand there's a societal part of this. The way that we express interest and create that, sexual attention is through subtly. It's through flirting. So now the frame is potential lover, it's not friend. And the caveman's not worried. He's not worried about the exact words that he says in a conversation. This is another thing that intellectual guys really stress out about. I wish I had something to throw at this chicken. He knows that it's not about the exact correct combination of words. It's about what energy does these words evoke. And do I have confidence? Is this the correct frame? These are the things that matter. Not like, let me get the exact lines. Like, can you give me an exact script that I can say to women? All right, now here's the King Caveman tool. And this is sort of a more advanced tool where if you're in the beginning stages of being a caveman, I wouldn't worry too much about this right now, but I'll get into it anyways. A King Caveman is in abundance with women. So he doesn't have time to be investing a lot of his time and energy with women who don't match his standards. So instead of just basing who he's gonna be with off of looks, he's gonna qualify this girl in various ways based off of his values that he wants to see in a girl. And he wants to get the girl to qualify herself to him by doing stuff like this. So for example, I might teasingly tell a girl, you're not one of those vampire girls that never goes outside, are you? And so this is a challenging way of getting a girl to qualify herself and explain herself to you and justify herself to you. Now the girl's like, no, I love going outside. I go on walks sometimes. I go on walks all the time. And if a girl likes you, she will qualify herself and she'll actually start lying and embellishing. So for example, let's say I challenge her on going to the gym. I did this the other day. Like, I tell a girl, like, I just really love going to the gym. It just feels so good to go to the gym. And I think people that do it, I think they just have a lot more healthy mental space. Do you go to the gym? And the girl's like, yeah, I've been trying to go to the gym sometimes. This girl did not go to the gym at all. Like, I could tell she was just lying. But you've basically baited the girl to get herself to justify to you. And now you've got her selling herself to you because you've baited her. And so what's the frame when the girl is selling herself to you? Well, now you're in the upper position of leverage. You are the buyer and the girl is the seller. And guys might be thinking like, oh my gosh, you're using all of these influence tactics. This is wrong. But you have to understand, a girl who wants to submit herself to a guy is not going to want to be on an equal playing field with a guy. Okay? She wants a guy who she can chase a little bit and win over. And one thing to understand with this, if you're trying to get a girl to qualify herself and you've literally just spent like 30 seconds in the interaction, well, her attraction meter is very low. So it might not be high enough yet for the girl to even care. So you want to wait until the girl has hooked. And when we say the word hooked, we mean the girl starts to open up a little bit more in the conversation. You can tell her eyes starts to lock onto you. She starts to ask you questions. Now you know that you've piqued her curiosity and her attraction meter's like over here. So now if I get her to qualify, she's way more willing to want to justify herself when I challenge her on something. But if I do that immediately and I say something very blatant, like, you know, you're cute, but what makes you unique? The girl's probably gonna be like, nothing. Oh, nothing. Because she's not gonna feel the need to justify herself when you haven't hooked her yet, when you literally just met her. So this is why this is a more advanced tactic, guys. And there's a lot more ways to get a girl to qualify herself to you. This is one of the things that I teach guys when they work with me one-to-one. So if you want to get a high quality girlfriend within 8 weeks and you want my personal help with this stuff, just click the link in the description. All right, now here's some standard caveman qualification that you should be using as an advanced person and also as a lower level caveman who's just starting out. So it's sort of like this. If you try to close a girl, if you try to pull a girl somewhere, or you try to get her number without verbalizing any actual reason why you like her, she's going to assume that you're using her for her body. So she's not gonna feel good about giving you her number, going on a date with you, etc. So a simple thing you can say is, in the interaction, after she's explained a little bit more about herself, or the interaction's gone on for a little bit, is you just say, you know what, I like you. I don't know why though, it's kind of weird. Or you might say something simple like, you know what, you have a good vibe, I like that. You know what, I just met you, but you actually seem kind of fun. So you're giving a reason to the girl why you like her. You're not just getting her number like, oh, let me, like one of those Instagram videos you see where the guy's like, does some like Riz line and he gets the girl's number in 30 seconds. Guys, you gotta understand that all of those videos are fake. None of those guys are going on dates with those girls. The girl forgets them instantly. She doesn't feel special. It just doesn't work. It's not effective. I've tested this very well, and this is just fact. So now once you've given her a reason, now you can close. Now the girl feels special. All right, so now Caveman closes. Cavemen, they don't live for very long, 20 to 35 years. That's it. So the caveman, he's not walking around BSing with women. He's not going around talking to women like, haha, let's have a friendly chat with this girl. Oh, I hope this girl really likes me and she just begs me to go on a date with her. No, it's time to move to close on every single girl that he talks to. He only lives for 20 to 35 years. He's not BSing. He has a very high level of testosterone. And here's where guys mess up, is guys will only close a girl if it's very clear to him that the girl is attracted, but this is a mistake. This is a mistake because obviously, if you can tell a girl's attracted to you and that there's a connection, move to close. Get the girl's number, pull, etc. But a lot of times, like I said previously in this video, is girls don't have game. And a lot of girls, especially higher quality women, they're not gonna give you any sort of validation at all. They're not even gonna let you know that they like you. So the girl might not indicate very much interest to you at all. And I've had this many times where the girl's just sort of like a turd. She's just not really that even engaging in the conversation. But I get her number anyways, and she shows up on the date anyways. So you just have to try. Like, at the end of the day, what do you lose when you try? Absolutely nothing. You either get a girlfriend or you gain some more experience. Now, here's another thing that guys will mess up on, is they'll run out of time. So the girl will have to leave, or he will have to leave because of some situation, and he will let the girl go. No, get the girl's number no matter what. So yesterday, I was in a Goodwill, and I see a cute Goodwill employee. So I start talking to her. Within like a minute or two of me talking to her, one of her Reddit moderator coworkers calls her over, and he's like, Andrea, get over here, I need your help. And I keep talking to her, and the guy's like, Andrea, get over here. And so right there, I could have been like, oh man, I missed my opportunity. And I just let her walk away, never to be seen again. I don't have opportunities to waste, and this could very well turn out to even be a date. So I'm just like, all right, let me just get your number really quick before you go. I get her number, and boom, it works. So here's what a caveman does. He pulls out his caveman phone, and he tells the girl, you know what, we should hang out sometime. Here, let's exchange numbers. That's it. And the key to doing this, absolutely key, is you're not even looking at the girl's reaction when you're doing this. Because you, as the King Caveman, you are just assuming that the girl's attracted to you. And as the King Caveman, this is just something that happens to you a lot, where you are pulling, you're having, success with women a lot. So it's like, oh yeah, this is just like clockwork. I just pull out my phone, the girl just gives me her number. So you're not even looking at the girl like for validation, like, oh, can I have your number? And then you're waiting and you're standing there with your freaking wiener in your hand. And so before I became a dating coach, I was actually a sales trainer. And at our sales company, after we did our pitch to the people, we wouldn't wait for the person's reaction to get their information. We would have a little clipboard and we would just pull out the sheet of paper. We'd be like, all right, so what's your name and what's your number and what's your address? And immediately they start giving us their name and their address. And that's where I learned this from. All right, so now you have the girl's number. Let's say you get the girl's number. Here's the caveman texting mentality. Is cavemen don't care about being poetic like Shakespeare. The caveman's only goal is to hang out with the girl as quick as humanly possible. That makes sense, right? So if it's like the next 30 minutes, that's autistic. But that's all he cares about is hanging out with the girl. He doesn't care about being cute. He doesn't care about being witty or getting to know the girl over text message. The caveman might die next week, okay? He needs to hang out with the girl fast. So he sends the least amount of messages possible to schedule something. And so you should just think about it like this. You just want to get to point A to point B from point A in the straightest, quickest line possible. So I'm not doing this nerdy thing where I'm trying to wait a couple of days to text a girl that I met very briefly, during the daytime or nighttime. You have to understand that this girl is going to forget about you very soon, or another caveman is gonna come along and steal your cave women. So let's say I get a girl's number at like 12. I'm texting that girl at 4 p.m. I'm not doing the nerdy thing where I'm like, oh, if I wait a week, this is gonna work out. This is gonna make me seem like an alpha. I used to do that, guys. This only works if the girl is really attracted to you, if you do the waiting thing. But more than often, you're not gonna win over a girl where her attraction is that high, where you're gonna be able to pull off that waiting nerd move. Just don't do that. And so you wanna get from point A to point B as quick as possible on the text message. But obviously there's gonna be some deviation because girls don't have game and they're just sort of, a lot of times they're just like sort of dilly-dallying a lot. They might throw a fork into the system and add on some extraneous information. So yeah, there's gonna be a bit of deviation on the text. There's gonna be some deviation, but this is what most guys' text message looks like. So they'll go backwards actually, then they'll go down, then they'll go backwards again, and it'll take a lot of time, and they might get to point B, but probably not. So here's what caveman texting might be. First message you might send is an example of callback humor. So this is maybe something you already teased the girl on during your interaction with the girl, or a funny moment that happened, or any, humorous thing that you can mention about your interaction. So for example, with that girl I met in Goodwill the other day, and she got, called away by her Reddit mod coworker. So I text the girl and I was like, hey, your coworker ruined the moment. Shake my head. And so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. And immediately there's like that connection there. And it sparks her back to that same emotion that she was having when we were talking. So that's the purpose of callback humor. And then she said something like, yeah, haha, we had to move a table to the back. And so I said, what are you doing tomorrow? She was like, not much. And I was like, hang out with me. She said, what do you want to do? I said, get coffee with me. And that's it. Now, obviously, she might throw some deviations in there. There might be some times in there where the girl's like, oh, I have to go to work tomorrow. Or the girl might be like, oh, I don't like drinking coffee. And then you have to deviate a little bit, but you're always moving it forward as quick as possible because, all right, it's like this, guys. Think about this. The King Caveman, he knows that he seems like an absolute tribal chieftain when he simply goes for the meetup. Because what are other guys doing once again? Is they're trying to be the girl's little texting buddy where, I don't know, so I think the reason why most guys do this and they try to text a girl for a really long time without even moving to close is they want to see an indicator of like a ton of validation from the girl so that he absolutely knows for 100% fact that the girl's interested in him without any possibility otherwise, so that there's no chance he can possibly get rejected. So it's another ego protection mechanism, which is a theme in a lot of guys' failure with women. So when I'm a guy that simply goes for the meetup, what do you think the girl is thinking? Like on her end of the message, on her end of the phone, when she sees this, and the guy's just like, all right, what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? Let's hang out. Get drinks with me. Oh, you're hanging out with your friends? Oh, me too. Let's meet up. Let's get drinks. Let's get coffee. Let's hang out. What do you think the girl is thinking in that moment? She's like, oh crap, this guy doesn't like play around. He doesn't dilly-dally. He must have had some success with women in the past. This must be a caveman chief, a caveman king. I should probably hang out with this guy. The reason I made this analogy is because guys tend to overthink this process, and it's really a lot easier than a lot of guys make it if you just go for what you want. Now, if you want my help with this, and you want to get a high quality girlfriend within 8 weeks, and you want ice cold confidence, I can help you directly with that. So just click the link in the description and let's get this done. That's all I have for today, guys. I'll see y'all next time.